It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
Brian, here's a fun one that people ask us about often. This is from Sitsi. The more I am investing, the more I find myself constantly wanting to check the latest stock/asset price. What can I do about this? So it sounds like Sitsi's army of dollar bills is growing. And the more he or she is doing it, the more he or she wants to stay tuned into it. And the more it becomes emotional. Have you ever in your life invested in something that, and the emotional toil of it played with you, you got caught up in it?
Yeah, it's been multiple times. I mean, look, we're no different than you guys are on our relationship with money. I have two experience shares. First, when I was a freshly minted financial advisor, my dad had a rollover IRA with exactly $113,000, like a knucklehead. I had just started working at a financial planning firm. We had separate account managers where you give it to a manager and then he's going and buying 40 of the greatest stocks supposedly out there directly for you. Now with $100,000, that means he's buying 3 here, 3 there, 3 all,
Yeah.
And I knew I was in trouble when my dad started calling as he's getting the annual shareholder letters. He's getting the stuff because when you own 3 shares, they still send you all the mail that comes with that. And he'd be like, "What is this?" And
why do I own 2
Raytheon was
shares?
down today. What are we going to do? Are we selling that? He'd come up with all these different stocks and questions. I was like, "Oh my goodness, I have created a monster here with my father." He's watching all this stuff. Emotionally, that's not a good decision. Then I think about myself. I struck Apple at a good time.
Almost
I mean, it was
perfect, yeah.
2008. It was less than $100 a share. I had figured out, I really nerded out in a financial mutant way and figured out that just the cash on hand was worth almost what the stock was trading at, and didn't even take into account all the value of their real estate, the intellectual value of their products and the design. I mean, it was the biggest no-brainer. But I did the typical thing. Now, look, there was a period of time there when it turns into a 2-banger, a 3-banger, 4-banger. And you're like, oh my goodness,
It's
I'm
amazing.
But then you find yourself depressed on the days that it goes down 3 or 4%. And I got to the point that it just wasn't, because as a value of my total net worth, this huge win for me financially was actually making me very sad, because I was focusing on my happiness was tied to the success of how well Apple traded that day. And then I made the mistake everybody does. I could have turned this probably into a 20-bagger, 30-bagger, but you know what I did? I sold it because I had quadrupled my money. And then you kick yourself on that loss opportunity too. What I have found much, much easier and much more fulfilling to me. Now, look, I have hit it. Y'all know I have Tesla.
Yep.
And I hit Tesla big too. And but that one it doesn't emotionally impact me, because I've just decided I don't care what it does. I don't care if it's up 1,000%, 2,000. I'm just going to sit on it because I like the product. But that's such a small portion of my net worth that what I actually get fulfillment from is watching the big goals.
Yep.
Have we crossed 7-figure status? Have we crossed, what is this replacing? How many weeks of work have I replaced? How many trips am I going to be able to buy for my family because of this? When the why is the driving of the financial engine versus what's going on in the daily gyrations of the stock, it gets much more fulfilling when you're goal driven versus emotionally driven. I have found much more fulfillment with investing.
I'll tell you one strategy that I do, because I also have a propensity to get lost in it, check it every day. I purposefully don't look at my investment accounts incredibly often. What I try to do is I recognize I'm a long way from wanting to leave earned income. I'm a long way from wanting to stop working, not be doing this anymore. So really what my accounts are doing on a day-to-day, month-to-month basis from a return perspective isn't all that important to me. I know the allocation I have in place that matches mine and my wife's age and our risk tolerance and our goals and the cash flow and all that sort of thing. And so I have my allocation intact. What I really focus on every single month is how much am I saving? This month, can I increase my savings? Can I add more to it? Because I recognize that the value over 30, 40, 50, 60-year investment time horizon is how many dollars can I deploy into my army not so much what the Army is doing on a day-to-day, month-to-month basis. So if I personally don't look at it a ton. I mean, I kind of love when I do my net worth statement at the end of the year, and I'm kind of surprised. I'm like, oh, when did my accounts, get that big? How, when did they turn into that? Because I know that my allocation is staying where my allocation needs to be for me personally.
I think to close out this point, we ought to give them a little peek under the hood, because I don't want people to lose focus when I talk about I own Tesla. You've talked about things you might have owned. I can go ahead and tell you guys, 96 to 97% of my investments, my investment capital, is exactly the same stuff we're buying for our clients, which is index funds and a diversified portfolio, mutual funds and ETFs. How about you, Bo? Are you the same way?
I only own 3 individual stocks, and they are the 3 stocks that I bought when I took my very first investments course. And I told myself I'd never sell them to remind myself I am not smarter than the stock market. And so I hold those not because I care about the companies or love those stocks, as a memento to remind me. So I don't own any individual stocks.
So I just wanted to share that because we eat the food in our kitchen. Yep. I mean, it's one of those things I don't want you guys to lose focus. We're buying index funds, mutual funds. We're not stock pickers. And I think that says volumes, because we've been doing this for decades now, had success with it. You can learn a lot from just looking at that behavior.